in-depth N8N workflow that I'm working on right now for Amazon sellers, which will do Amazon listing images. So I just want to hop in here and share with everybody what I'm working on and see if anybody has any questions. I'm actually going to be working on it while I'm streaming. So you will kind of get an idea of how my brain works with using N8N to create workflows and complete workflows for Amazon brands. So let's start. Oops, I did not mean to do that. Wrong button. Anyway, let's start from the beginning. So this workflow is intended to help analyze a seller's Amazon listing. It will also pull competitors' Amazon listings and do an AI analysis of the main image, the listing images or the supporting images, and the A+ content. So I wanted to show you I'll walk you through kind of what the thought process is on this one. And then I have not tested it fully. So I have some data saved in here that we can use and run through. So I haven't really tested it fully, but let's walk through the thought process on this so that you guys can kind of see where my mind goes when I am creating N8N workflows for Amazon sellers or for the agency as well. Obviously, this one workflow right here can really, really push the ability to test multiple images. It can create multiple main images it can push out as many images as you want, just setting whatever trigger you want. You can hit a button, say I want an image, and it will flow through the workflow. So pretty cool, the thought process on this. But I want to get this working for everybody to use later or so that we can continue to use it internally. So first thing is set a trigger. I have some data already saved in the variables, so I'm not going to go through that. But normally I would create a form and fill in the form. There are forms right in N8N that you can share, or you can save. So you can set up the N8N form. It will then push it to the variables. So each variable we want filled in. I don't have this mapped out to anything because it's already, I'm in testing mode right now. So the first thing that it will do is take the image, so the hero image from our listing, and send it through an upload and then analyze through Google Gemini. Okay, so I created a prompt here for the listing image, and let me get this easier to read. So I created a prompt here. It's just a very basic prompt, and I know I use ChatGPT, I believe, to help me with the prompt. It's very basic. I'll probably, once I get this entire workflow working, I will probably end up making a better prompt. The prompt engineering usually comes last. So you'll see that it uploaded a file to Google Gemini, and it's analyzing it. It mapped the URL here for it. Let me actually just turn this off so you can see more of my screen. All right, so let's get this back going again. For some reason, it moved me backstage. I'm not really used to the program I'm using right now. But anyway, so I created the prompt. I'm mapping the URL so that Gemini can download it. It analyzes it. And once it analyzes it, it goes into a merge node. So it'll sit here. The next workflow that I have going on is it will actually, I'm using Apify. There was another person on here that said that we should try Bright Data. So it's another opportunity for running it. I use Apify. Apify is built in to the N8N as a node. So I just use Apify. I went into Apify and I found the actors that I wanted. So Apify is a system that will allow you to do hundreds and hundreds of different things, right? So an actor does something specific, and this actor specifically will run an actor and get the data set, right? So this one will specifically take the Amazon listing um, URL. So it's a search term URL. So it will run an Amazon search engine report and pull all the ASINs into it. Okay, so let's actually go into one of the executions that I had running before I went all the way through this. All right, just looking for an execution that worked to go through that workflow. Been a few days since I've been in here, about a week since I did this last one. Let's go. Here we go. This should be it. Maybe we'll just have to run it through again and see what the output is. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so anyway, the idea here is that we take the search engine report page. We get the top, it actually gives like 7 pages worth, so somewhere like 60 ASINs. It will extract the top 10 ASINs, so on the page automatically, whether it's you or somebody else. It will then, this is another actor that I set up on Apify that will actually take those ASINs, the top 10, and it automatically takes that ASIN and it will get the entire product page for us. Okay. So then it will transform the data. This is a code node. It transforms the data. It creates an embedding. So what an embedding is an easier way for our LLMs like ChatGPT, Gemini, that to analyze the data and understand the data. So I use Supabase as my data storage so that I can access it from multiple places. N8N just came out with a new storage, their own data storage. I'm not sure if it's accessible with API or something like that. So I'm still probably going to keep using Supabase at this point. There's a lot of good conversation about using the internal N8N database. It lowers the latency, basically the amount of time it takes to review and access the data. So I may move some of the stuff over to it. For the most part, I want to make sure that whatever I'm doing and all these scrapes go into one centralized database that I have access to later, that I can access either through this or through whatever other automation I want to do. So at this point, it analyzes the main image, then it goes through and analyzes the top 10, and then it merges. So it brings all that data together. Then I set up an AI agent that I'm still testing the prompt on to analyze the data. So basically, it will take all of this information and analyze the data, and it will give me an output of how I can do better after analyzing the competitors and ours. So maybe we're missing something, because if we're not in the top 10, we definitely want to try the ability to increase both our click-through rate as an Amazon seller and our conversion rate as an Amazon seller. So our click-through rate is our main image in this workflow. Obviously, reviews and all the other stuff come through that. Pricing, reviews, main image, title, all affect the click-through rate. And then our conversion rate is a lot to do with our secondary images, how our listing looks, so the idea behind this is to take what we're already doing and transferring over to what we can be doing. So I will fix this prompt later. Like I said, I just want to get the workflow to go through once and fully through and provide everything that I want as an output, including images. So it will use all of these tools, which I'll discuss later. It will then create a brand new main image. It will create a set of infographics and create a set of A+ modules. I think I have something like 6 supporting infographics and A+ modules. So I use Nano Banana and Seedream 4.0 on this as my listing creation or my image creation. I don't know how well it's going to do based off the prompts. So I want to just get this flow to go through once, and we'll see what happens with the image. The main image, though, should be able to go through right away, right? So the main image, we should be able to produce multiple main images and output them all automatically, right? So I'm just going to disconnect that node because I don't need it. All right, so let's start from the beginning and let's actually just run this through and see what happens. So if we execute the workflow, let's start execution on this workflow. So you can see it working, that it's uploading a file, it's analyzing images, and it will go to the merge node. In the merge node, I am making sure that it waits for both of these walkthroughs to go through. So it will do this one first, and then it will do the second one. So we will wait for that information to come through. As it goes through, let's talk about the AI agent. This is pretty important. So for the AI agent, strategy agent, I called it, I am going to move this into a subtask or sub workflow so that I can access it later with multiple. But right now I'm just testing it within this workflow to make it work. So the first thing we're doing is we choose a chat model that we want to have accessing the prompt, right? So the prompt from the AI agent. We've got Claude Opus 4.1 running on it. I am currently running a simple memory, which just stores internally into the system. And we already got an error. No big deal. All right. And then I use the Think Node tool. So then the tools we use for this one is we are going to access a vector database through Supra, right? So I am accessing a database that I already set up in my Supabase database looking for Amazon competitors. So it will take the information that it learns from here, from this walkthrough, and loading into this database, and it will grab that data, right? So it's not grabbing directly from this node. It's going to grab that data and review it. So it's going to use an embedding module to do it, and then it will use the Claude GPT. I also set up Perplexity for market researching, get binary image to download the image, and then I use the tool for Google Gemini to analyze the images, right? So this AI agent has access to all these tools, okay? I'm also working a lot with MCPs, and we'll talk about that later, but let's make sure that we get this workflow going. All right, so we have an error in here. It says bad request, check OpenAI embeddings. So this needs to be put in as a vector upload, and so this is not the right way to do that. I think we need to make sure that we have. I don't think I'm even converting this into a vector. So I'm adding embedding input. So I'm going through this with you. So I'm adding embedding, OpenAI embeddings, embedding input. So it should give me an output of an embedding output. This module's maximum context length is 8192 tokens. However, your requested 13,000 is too much. All right. So it's taking too much information in here in creating an embedding. So this node right here, this OpenAI embeddings, is taking this data and turning it into an embedding so that I can upload it. So it's too big. So we need to decrease our embedding size. So we need to transform that data. I have all of these set up already. Let me see. So let's actually just ask ChatGPT of a way to decrease the embedding size. And I also hit Ask Assistant. So I'm not sure if you guys have seen this yet, but if you Ask Assistant right here, the N8N Assistant will help as well. So I'm just going to go here and I'm going to say, look, I got this error. So if we go and click Control A, I got this error because the token size is too big. So really, let's go get the error at the bottom of this. So this error is really what I'm looking at, is the error that came out of the OpenAI embeddings. Hey, Abdul, how's it going? So I'm going to take that. And I'm going to say, ChatGPT, I got this error from OpenAI embeddings API. How can I lower tokens? So a token is basically how you stuff too much in the poor embedding model. It politely coughed up a token. Error, yada, yada. Chunk your input. So I know, so we can chunk it actually. So my JSON is actually not chunking it. So I'm going to ask it to chunk it. So one of the good things that we can do, and that I do often, is I'll grab this and I'll download what I currently have, and I'll go right into here and I'll say, help me chunk the HTTP node. So as attached. So I don't know if you guys can actually see that, but I'm just asking it, and then I'm just going to upload that download I did, and let's get an output from ChatGPT on how I make that chunking node smaller. Right? I want to make the OpenAI chunk, and because I have to do an HTTP request. All right, so I dug into the workflow. All right, so it's basically telling me to use a code node to transform the data properly. Right now, transform data spits out one massive field. Saying add a code node. It's giving me the code, so insert this right after transform data. Why can't I just do? So a lot of the times I find that ChatGPT wants me to add code nodes, and just, I already have a code node right before. Like, that's the whole point, is to transform this data and put it into OpenAI. So I'm going to have it rewrite the code node to output properly chunks. I definitely like to use Claude for this. So let's go change this. I'm literally just going to go like this and go like this. One of the great things that we can do is we can pin data so that the data coming into the code node. So if we actually right click on, we want to pin this, so this data stays in here so that I can run this, and it will run the data that's already there. So 164 items came in. Ooh, so it's taking all of that data, chunking it. Let's take a look at this a little closer. So this is the output from the code node. It's 164 items. I don't even think. All right, so now I need to ask ChatGPT what to do now. So we have the tokens usage. Each chunk is capped at 2,000 characters. Now I need OpenAI embeddings module to get all this data. How do I set that up? So now we'll wait for it to think, because sometimes it does, because now it's got 164 items going into it. Now I need this section to read all of that data, right? We want to make sure that it reads all of it. Let's go look at our embedding input again and make sure that it's not duplicating. Because sometimes I find after like transform, the code is not done correct in ChatGPT. So it's just a lot of data that has to go in, and what we're doing is seeing how we take that data, and transforming the embeddings of the data and feeding it into the Supabase so that later on our AI agent can read that data. So I'm waiting. I'm still kind of working with ChatGPT while I'm doing this, and Claude while I'm doing this in order to transform this data over. Ooh, Sonnet 4.5 out. We'll just stick to the legacy stuff for now. All right, so this says short answer, you can't cram 13,000 tokens into one embedding. I think it just might be too much data going into it. So let's go check out what we've done before and see what that code note actually says. Okay, so nope, 164. We got the error here. Okay, I think what I want to do is it should only be 10. I don't see how that is too much information going in. So what other options do I have for the data to make it smaller to be embedded? So let's figure out a way to make it smaller, the data to be smaller to be embedded. So again, this is quite advanced, but you know, there's a lot of ways that I learned how to get here, even, and I'm not an expert at this. Prune, keep only signal fields. No, that's kind of dumb. Let's see what data is going in. So obviously we want the title. So I'm looking at what data is actually going into, yeah, so it gives the URL, the title, the manufacturer, the features. So we want all those. We want all the image URLs. We want all the video URLs. authority, the product description. That's great. So this is pulling the top 10 and getting all of that information. So we definitely want all of that. Let's see what else we have. Name, let's look at the table. Title, review count. It doesn't look like it pulled the review count over. The ASIN, seller ID, price range, features, image URLs, video URLs, product description, product details. That's good to have the BSR in there. Main image, categories. We don't need that. Important information, buy box, about. All right. So if the information we wanted, we definitely want the URL, title, manufacturer. I wonder if we set this up and embed it for the top 10 products. So if we changed our Supabase so that it gets because right now the way that I have it set up is it is grabbing all of the data and embedding it right in from all of the top 10, right? So I wonder if I created embedding vectors for each separate one, if that will lower it enough. Let's just pull the JSON for one of these. I have an idea. Okay, I get 10 of these outputs. I need a code to transform the data to just grab the URL. Cool. All right, so we're gonna put the JSON in here so we can see. All right, so we want the ASIN URL, manufacturer. Oh man, it's not letting me. All right, so we want the URL. It's just giving me too many items and it's not allowing me to copy and paste very easily. Because I don't want all of it output. Let me think through this on how we can get that data better, smaller anyway. So let's actually just, what we'll do right now is we'll make it smaller automatically by changing out this node to not be 10. Let's do this. So change this code to output only 3 of the ASINs. Let me see. It might just be easier to go. In here and do it. So let's do 1, 1, 2, 3. All right, that's what we're gonna do. So let's just, I'm gonna, when I mess around and change things, but I know later I want to use it, I'll just duplicate this. And then we'll rename it top 3. And then we'll remove this from the workflow and keep that in there because I will want top 10 eventually. I just have to figure out how to transform the data later. But if we do top 3, then we'll just go in here. We'll change this node because this is bringing all 10. So we'll do 1, 2, 3. So it's not as much data. And just change this JSON that's going in to work. So let's pin this data. Let's run this. So now it's only going to just output 3. The transform data should still work to just be 3, and it should upload to the OpenAI. All right, perfect. So now 4 items went in because it got mine. So we're going to execute this. All right, let's delete this. And we're going to execute. Let's just start over. All right, so we're just waiting for the execution to go through. Actually, I need to unpin. Shoot. Okay. So this is what I do. I mean, going through this and you just test it by pinning the data. We're setting the variables. Could have pinned this data, that data. So when this is done and it goes through, I'll pin this data so that I can then start testing the AI agent that I built for making sure that it's analyzing the data properly, making sure everything's going through. So right now it's running a search engine report page and pulling that data through Apify character or an Apify actor. It'll then scrub it for the top 3 as an Apify actor. And then transform the data. It'll upload it as embedding, add it to my database, and merge the in. Then it'll go into my AI agent. So 10 was just too much. I was doing 10 initially. 10 is just too much data that was going through it. So this looks like it's probably going to time out. The actor is taking a little bit long. I can also go into Apify and you can look at the actors that we're running. So that one seems like it's running a little bit too long. So this one will, you can look at the runs. So it's actually running now. You can see the price for the runs. It's what, that was like 1 cent. I'm gonna abort this because I feel like it's going too long. All right, let's actually just go. Let's go back into here. Let's go pin the data from our previous execution. So I'll go in here and I'll copy this data to the editor. And we're gonna pin. So now it's running another Apify actor for scrubbing just those three. It'll go into the transform node. Okay. Name is unexecuted because I didn't execute from the beginning. Oh, that's my old code. Okay. I see what happened. So let's just duplicate this. I'll grab my old code from before. So I'm just going in here and I'm going to grab the old code from that. All right, here's the code. So we're going to go back in here. We're going to change the code. Save. And then if we go into executions and we hit this button right here, it will run it from the error section. So I'm setting the constant to all right, I have to change this. 3. So I just have to change the name of in the code because it's top 3 now, not top 10 because I changed it. All right, let's go back, execute this. Okay. Node does not exist. Which one are we missing? Why didn't it save? All right, let's go back in and run that. It was hero URL 1. All right, so now it's going to execute. Oh, come on. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Check your parameters. Okay. So it violates the null constraint. I've had this issue in the Supabase before. And it's just creating the row. So I have to map it out properly. All right, now I'm just trying to get the error removed, right? So it's just not uploading to Supabase like I want. So and this error said, let's debug in editor. Bad request. Let's open up that node. And let's have ask assistant help. Invalid input syntax. So it's just, I think it's got to be in an array. I don't think this is right. Oops. All right, now we're just just chatting with ChatGPT a little bit and having them help me. I know I've done this before too, so I can actually just go find it and make sure that that gets output properly. All right, it's just not mapping properly to be uploaded as a vector. Let's go see what my other workflows do. All right, I'm going to actually end this now. I don't want to keep